Hi, this is Chef and Builder Janie Pendleton. We're back today because we're still working all week this week on our longer term food storage, which is not just canning in the water bath canner or a pressure canner, but we're also doing oven dry canning this week. So that's what we're working on now. And we're also working on the Food Saver vacuum sealers. So I've been doing this for a couple of years now. Technician 77, you can go over and give him a visit here on YouTube. He is really good at this, and I've learned all that I know from him as far as vacuum sealing itself goes and using the vacuum Food Saver vacuum sealer. So I credit all of my knowledge on that towards him, and so I thought, well, I'd pick me up one, and I got a regular mouth and a wide mouth lid, and off of eBay, and I think I paid $7 or $8 a piece for this. Plus I paid $19.95. It's an inexpensive Food Saver. If it has this little notch right here, now this is just a simple Food Saver, it will do the bags, but if you just have a simple hole right here, this is where the hose fits in right here. And then the other end of the hose, of course, fits into the vacuum jar sealer. And I've even had people tell me that they've turned these, when they've had problems with the regular mouth lid, that they just pop these out and turn it upside down, and they've had luck with the ring turned upside down in the regular mouth lid. Now this is a wide mouth, and this is what we will be using today. Of all my dehydrated goods, I think I've only lost some lemons and some limes, but not the oranges, and I think that was my fault because I didn't dehydrate them far enough down, that there must have still been a little bit of moisture, just a little bit of moisture in there, and when I vacuum sealed them, they molded within 6 months. So, but as far as loss goes, that's the only thing I've lost so far, vacuum sealing. So, and the nice thing about vacuum sealing is you can use the same lid over and over if you're really careful when you pop it open and you don't bend the lid. And you can even use your lids from your water bath canning, like your jugs and jams, and from your pressure canning and things like that. You can reuse those lids again for vacuum sealing. But you can't use the vacuum sealing lids for the canning lids. And you can't reuse canning lids on, pressure can or water bath can lids. So I hope that straightens that out. This is a good way to recycle your pressure can and your water bath can lids, is to use them on vacuum sealing. Okay? So, and that works for me. Just bring in the jars in here from the oven. And here I have just a little bit of vinegar, just a couple of tablespoons will work. Some clean napkins, which we're just going to kind of set aside here. We have our wide mouth vacuum sealer. We have the tube. And we're just going to kind of sit this back so we don't get any powders on it. Plug that in. Got our unit plugged in and everything. That's fine. We double check. I know that these are dry, but you don't want to put your hand in here because this is all sterile. And I just showed you the process on how to sterilize your jars. We washed them really well. We turned them upside down in our boiling water. We boiled them for 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes max is all it takes. And then we turn these upside down in a 220, 225 oven and let them dry for about a half an hour, okay? Then we turned off the oven and let these come down and cool naturally. We clean this really well. Everything we're using here is sterile. Now we're just going to fill our jar. And this stuff is sticky. And that's why I'm going to use the vinegar right here, because it is very sticky stuff. Powdery and sticky. You can kind of see it kind of making a mess. And I don't want to get this powder in my, see the powder mess it's making? I don't want to get that anywhere near my, all right, that'll work. And then I'm also going to cover up my lids, because on the lids here I just took and I just put them in the oven for on the 225, and I just set them on top of the jars in the oven for about 2 or 3 minutes. Warmed them up really well and kind of sterilized them the best that I could. Now I'm just going to take a napkin and I'm going to cover these lids up as well, because these powders, those powders could keep these from sealing, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm just covering everything up here with just napkins, just real quick. Because look how powdery that is. There we go. go. Fill this up just like this. This is a ½ gallon. These are ½ gallon jars. You can do quart jars. You can do pints or you can do half pints. I mean, you can do whatever size you want as long as you have the right size vacuum sealer connector. I probably should have cut this box open for you. I'd already done two, so. There you go. Let's see how that goes. Now we're going to take this and we're going to give it a couple of taps. See how the powder's in here? See that? That's all over that. So, and you don't want to really touch these rooms like I just showed you, but I just wanted you to see the powder. But yeah, normally I don't dare touch the rim. So, but I'm going to clean that with vinegar. It should be fine. We're going to give ourselves about, probably a 3/4 of an inch to an inch headspace, because when this vacuum seals, this is going to suck down. And that's just this instant dry milk. Okay, that's good enough. And remember, every time you use this and get whatever you need out of it, just take a little bit of vinegar, clean the rim, let that dry, put on the lid, and seal. So you can seal this. I don't care if there's only this much product in the bottom of this jar, you can still re-vacuum seal this. And you can use the lid over and over and over. After you do this, sometimes you gotta give your hands a little bit of a wash with a little soap. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna take the vinegar, just gonna get it a little bit wet on the tip of my napkin. Okay, so we don't want anything dripping. So I'm gonna give it a second here to kind of soak into the napkin. I don't want anything dripping. And then I'm going to bring like a little form right here between these two fingers, like there. That will make the edge like this. And then I go around the edge of the glass gently, just like this right here. There we go. Straight up vinegar. I'm not using water. Vinegar dries. It's a antibacterial. And we get all that powder off of here and kind of clean this up where the powder hit this and made these sticky. Then we're going to take a dry one. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to get that nice and dry. We don't want any moisture inside this jar when we vacuum seal this. None whatsoever. And then one more time with the vinegar. Like I said, this powdered milk, you don't have to normally do this on anything else, but the powdered milk is very sticky. And plus, I showed you that and I stuck my finger in there, so. Okay, so I'm going to get one of our sterilized lids. Or as sterilized as you can get it, I guess. There we go. And then what you're going to do is you're going to slip on your vacuum seal lid here, and you're going to take this off. Get this off here. You're going to take this off. That gets any air that's between the lid and inside of here out, and then pop that back on. Lock down your unit, and then press the button. Now when that green light comes on, let's make sure you can see what I'm doing here. Alright, then you remove this, just like that right there. Oops, hang on, that didn't work. I had a feeling that didn't work when the green light came on really fast. Let me try this again. Something I did wrong. I didn't have the thing put on there all the way. There we go. Let's try this again. There we go. I didn't have that on there all the way. It still isn't working. Hang on. There's a reason for it. Trust me. Figure out what that reason is. Sometimes you have to unplug the hose and plug it back in. Just like that right there. Lock it down and try again. Alright, now I know we're working because the green light didn't come on really quickly. So when the green light comes on, there it is. Then you remove this, release the air off the top of that, go like that, that comes off a lot easier, and voila, look at that. See that? You can hold that up by the top, and that one is done. Now you can put a 100 cc oxygen absorber in here if you like. And again, we're going to cover the unit back up again, because I do not want this getting my machine. You get these machines caked in stuff and it's hard to clean them, so. Just takes a few extra minutes to do that, but it's well worth it. Okay, so. Not much left in this one. All right, we open up another one, and we're gonna do this again. Try to hold the box in there as far as you can. I know it makes it harder to see, but that kind of keeps the powders out from falling out. Instead of going like this, you're better off going like this and keeping the powders out a little bit. Keeping the powders down. Like I said, it's half gallon. It's taking me a little bit longer to fill it up. And like I said, you just take out what you need of this and just keep re-vacuum sealing it. And there's no other method where you can just keep reclosing it down, protecting the product inside. Keep it nice and settled. And the jars a little bit more. One more time. Let that soak in for a second. Make that little V. And don't touch the product. Clean this up. Take a clean one. And do just this lid. I'm only doing this on the powdery things. Now, if you're doing, you can't do powdered sugar here or any fine like clear gel. Anything that's a really fine powder that's not a heavy powder. Like baking soda, I can do baking soda. It doesn't fly everywhere. But if it's a really powdery, fine, misty powder, I mean, this right here is probably, for powdered milk, this is probably about as fine as a granule. You probably want to go doing this, because you just don't want to get it up inside your tubes. You can ruin a really nice machine doing that. So I've tried different ways of trying to do it. I've even laid plastic kind of down on top to keep it from coming up. That didn't work. So no, you might think that's overkill, but trust me, it's not. All right, so let me touch that. I didn't mean to. Okay, so your lid, like I said, I washed these in the sink as well with a little soap and water, rinsed them really well, and then I let them dry in the oven for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I let them cool down. It's not necessary to have a hot rubber ring on these, but you do want to use the BPA-free lids because you don't want any product touching these lids, especially since we're going to be doing this. This will stay good for about probably anywhere between 3 to 5 years, probably, maybe longer. I've only tested it for 2.5 to 3 years, so I'm not one to tell you how long. I can tell you what I've heard, and I've heard up to 3 to 5 years. So, and I mean, my powdered milk was good at 2.5 years, so I can speak for 2.5 years. All right, so we're gonna put that on here like this, and cover the machine again. I know that's kind of a pain in the butt, but we gotta get it done. Put that on. Unplug it from the machine and put it back on the machine. Perfect. Now, you can store these just like this. You don't have to put a ring on it. But we live in a dry, fairly dry climate, and we have air conditioning on for right now. So I put a lid on it like this just to help keep it on, and then I back it off just about 1/4 of an inch. I back it back off, and then I store mine with the rings on. And I'll tell you why I do this, because whenever you use this, you know you're not going to use the whole thing at once. So you're going to take out what you need, and you're going to vacuum seal it. So this is another way for me to be able to actually store some rings, because I've got big boxes of rings, and yeah. So that's up to you whether you store your things. When I dry can my rice, and I screw these on really tight, you can go here and see that video right there on how to dry can. Then, of course, you do that. But I can take the rings off now for dry canning my rice, or I can leave them on. Now, I'm choosing to leave them on, and I put them on like that, and I just backed it back off about 1/4 of an inch. This just assures me so I can get them off fairly easy from them, because I crank these on really tight when I dry can these. But yeah, so go watch that video and learn how to dry can rice and beans and other pastas. You can even do pasta like spaghetti and elbow macaroni. You can do gluten-free or regular pasta. So that's my dry canning. Instant dry milk right here makes 5 gallons of milk. And I know people say, ooh, I hate the way instant dry milk tastes. Well, you're in a SHTF situation. I'm pretty sure that you're just going to be glad to have some sort of nutrition and some sort of milk for your children. And I'm going to tell you how to make this. Add just a touch of vanilla and maybe just a hint of sugar to this. And you'll make this taste like fresh milk. You will like it. Just a hint of vanilla. And that will get rid of any odd flavor about the instant dry milk. Okay, so that's how you vacuum seal. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. This is Chef and Builder Janie Pendleton. Be sure and hit that subscribe button, because you know what? We have a lot going on, and I think we have some things that we can teach each other. And I would just love to hear from you, so leave a comment below and let me know what you think of how you're doing this, how you're doing your long-term food storage. And like I said, this is instant dry milk, so I've only ever kept mine for about 2.5 years before I've used it up. But people say 3 to 5 years on the instant dry, or the regular non-fat dry milk that's non-instant. So and then there's other things, and that's just vacuum sealing that. You can vacuum seal other dehydrated goods and like potato flakes or whatever, and they may be good from 5 to 10 years. So don't think that just everything vacuum sealed is only good for 3 to 5 or whatever years, because it can be good longer. Different products are good for longer. Like vacuum sealed pasta can be good up to 10 to 20 years. So, but I still dry can it because pastas and grains get bugs and eggs in it. So, so that's a good way to do that. Remember to always wash and then sterilize your jars. Put them in the oven. Make sure that they're really good and dry before you put your product in, because water will mold and completely ruin your product. When you're dry canning anything, whether it's vacuum sealing or oven canning, it can ruin your product. So again, that's why I use the vinegar, because vinegar dries a lot faster than water. So, and it's a sterile. I mean, you know, it helps sterilize the rims and helps get that clean in case anybody's touched it. You don't want to get your finger oils on the rim. So anyway, this is Chef and Builder Janie Pendleton. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Be sure and hit that subscribe button. And I hope this has helped you. I really do. Blessings.